Second to last match of the day coming up. A third place match between NRG and G2, a best of 7. Let's go ahead and get into it with the commentary. Shogun and Lawler, take it away, guys.
Yes, indeed. It will be NRG versus G2. Plenty on the line still to play for. Prize money and the ability to avoid that first round at Washington, D.C. and avoid having to take on the first place, I believe it is, OCE team in that very first round. So very big, lots still to play for.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where a lot of times when you don't get to play against talent that you're used to, in this case, we only play OCE once a year. It's one of those, or twice a year now, technically. It's one of those situations where with these two teams, like, it is nice to just be able to sit back and watch and kind of learn, like, okay, what kind of style they're going to come with and kind of pick up from that. So, yeah, a lot of implications and an extra $2,000. So. And
I actually want to bring something up here because we heard Gibbs talking on the desk, and I want to try and gauge your mind on this one. He was saying that having these two teams here was not necessarily the best thing. I want to counter that one. I want to say it's actually the best thing ever because the main problem for North America for the longest period of time was a lack of depth, a lack of teams that could really take each other on and sort of continue to sharpen the blade by taking each other on and really grinding away and making each other better. The fact that we do now have these two teams playing off for the third place matchup shows that North America is growing.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with you on that one. I mean, I think this is the first time that we're going to see a true 4-roster squad in the sense of like 4 teams from NA going into LAN that have the ability to actually beat each other and compete with each other. I still think Cloud9 is a little bit ahead and NRG is up there as well, but it is much closer in a gap, and I don't think we're going to have like a weaker fourth coming in. Like, everybody shows that they can win at any given time, which is fantastic. Like, I still am surprised by this Ghost team, despite them being consistently winning against other high-roster squads. I just don't understand how they managed to find those wins in the end, because I look at the roster and I see the way they play, and I'm like, how are they still managing to do this? And it's exciting in that sense that you're going to get that kind of giant question mark of, okay, how are they going to pull it out? Let's find out.
Well, it's great because sometimes you get these teams that just come together. They were scrambling towards the end of the season. They just sort of click. Whilst we've got 2 rosters here that have been put together for a very long time. NRG having a less than stellar compared to their own standards performance this season, where for the first time ever they will not be the regional champions. But on the other side, G2, a lack of consistency has always seemingly plagued them, and for the first time this season, during the previous match that we saw from them, the first time we've really seen them drop down to a skill level that was almost unbecoming of them. So I'm going to be looking in this series just to see whether or not they can bounce themselves back, because teams can usually be a little bit more quiet during these third-place matches.
I mean, we talk about it all the time, about how difficult it is as a team at the top to stay at the top. And that's been NRG for 3 seasons in North America. They finally have this team that is really pressuring them in Cloud9. And G2 has been there kind of here and there, but that's only going to make this team, I think, better. They're going to find a way to claw back and, come back even stronger. But one in front of them and one that has a lot of history is this G2 team. Between these 2 rosters, last time they met up was in favor of NRG in 5 in week number 4. But that is all behind them as we get into our first match.
Certainly will be. I expect to see a lot of differences in this series between taking it very seriously and experimenting a little bit more. Remember, both these teams have got themselves some very strong competition in front of them, so why not take advantage of that fact? Try some new things out and get rid of what was not originally working. Rizzo going to get beat to the ball by Jacob, and now Fireburner now up on the wall. 50 seconds now down in this matchup. Neither squad able to find a way through. Jacob now looking to go for an individual play. We've already seen some insane ones out of him so far. Fireburner is going to try and go for the challenge, but JNAPS, ever present in the air, powers the ball back down to the NRG half.
Right job there, putting it on net as well. Just Rizzo, unfortunately, not able to get Garrett in the defense. Trying to free up that lane as the pressure again from G2. Starting to apply as it plays out in the midfield. Kronovi's going to be the first one to get a touch, but it plays over to the side. There's the pressure, and somehow JNAPS is the one that gets demoed there.
Do you see this zone? This is Garrett's zone. You do not take the ball from Garrett in his zone.
Apparently he's going to make the whole place his zone in this case.
Entirety of NRG's half belonging to Garrett at this point in time. Jacob takes the long shot, and Rizzo has to try and get an unconvincing save. So G2 going to be stuck on the defensive end for the time being. Kronovi wins that one outright. Should be dealt with by Garrett, who puts it straight to the middle. This is dangerous, allowing JNAPS to take a shot. I understand that they were looking for passing plays, but still can be beat. They will know that better than anyone after their series against Cloud9. It's such a fast team to try and play against. definitely be a change of pace for them. It's going to be more about individual plays and individual ability to either make good dribbles or simply just win the challenge.
Well, you want to talk about individual players. No one better than the NA MVP this season, J-Naps, coming through with a shot on net. Early score for them.
This is the difference right here when we talk about the ability to run on versus the ability to just be there automatically. The ability to run on is so much more important because J-Naps has the option in that scenario. He can either go in or he doesn't. He has the ability to figure out, okay, I want this or I don't. However, for Garrett in that situation, he's already there. He has to play that ball no matter what, and he's against a player that, quite frankly, always going to be faster than him, and in a challenge is probably going to come out better.
All started, though, with Rizzo setting up that challenge and pushing it into the midfield. These guys spreading out pretty darn well as they're controlling the pace of this game. Trying to set a tone early against this NRG squad, but we saw in their earlier series how they learned to adapt by sending Garrett in the midfield up after he gets this contest. As you mentioned earlier, it is his zone.
Kronovi over to Rizzo. Rizzo gets the setup. End-to-end gameplay there from G2, but still not able to find an end result. Both these teams seem to be using the backboard quite often when we see a lot of the major teams starting to adapt a little bit more towards using those cutting infield passes. Just so far, neither of them able to adapt to that at this point in time. Jacob flicks that up, looking for Fireburner. Fireburner does get it past Kronovi. Jacob with a 1-2 pass. Back over to Fireburner, unable to find the end result, but NRG still probing away, which they will need to do considering there is only 1 minute and 34 seconds remaining, and they are currently 2 goals down. J-Naps grabs his second.
Just a matter of Rizzo moving up. Normally we see him on the backfield, and you heard Gibbs talk about that earlier as well, how if Rizzo's going to sit back and just simply play defense the whole time, it is not going to work. There's going to be teams, especially on the EU side, that really punish him for that. But he's really changing that up. He's getting in the face of this team. He's being that #1 rotation. He's contesting and kind of taking that bruiser role or that enforcer role that we normally see out of Kronovi. And it's working out well. Up by 2 with minute 20 left on the clock as they're trying to score another one, a play off the backboard, but no third rotation in.
Yeah, Kronovi had to play that one just a little bit too quickly. Couldn't get his car up in time. Garrett just over the top of one. Garrett tries to get over to the, and it goes into the side corner. It was a little bit messy there, boys, but it does work.
Garrett gets that initial touch off the jump, but he still has it left, so he jumps again, and it ends up flicking even further downfield. But the play at the end there from his teammate Fireburner, just playing it quiet, trying to play it back inside against the player, does get the save, but because he's up in this physics-based game, all it takes is a little bit more pressure from Garrett. Push him and the ball on through. Back within 1 minute left.
That touch from Fireburner on the forward flip is so ridiculously tough to do. You have to get the timing right and you have to be the perfect position away, and a lot of players always misread that. But the easy thing to read is the fact that there is 50 seconds remaining. G2 still 1 goal up, or are they? Yes, they are, thanks to Kronovi, who comes in with the last second save. Now pass from J-Naps over to Kronovi, still took the shot whilst on the forward flip. The follow-up from J-Naps, hat-trick hero for him.
Ball played out really well, just everybody moving upfield at the same time. When you look at how many players are already downfield ready to attack, just nobody in the right position for NRG to contest the ball, just lets it go freely. And the overwhelming presence of G2 puts them up by 2. Just good responses all around. Anytime that NRG starts to get something going, G2's been shutting it down so far.
Garrett looks to put that one up high. Gonna come off the backboard, but J-Naps has it red. Gonna go up high yet again. They need to get a goal pretty quickly if NRG wants to have any chance of bringing this game straight back. Only 17 seconds remaining. Jacob with a challenge. He didn't get the boost though. Kronovi can come straight in for that. Fireburner can go up for the shot off the backboard. There will be no follow-up, however, because J-Naps is there to take the ball away. That is going to be on target, but it will also be saved by Rizzo. Who else? That's going to drop straight down. G2 take game #1.
Close game at the start, but G2 just started to run away with it. Nothing too crazy. The pace definitely in their favor, though. NRG seems to show their best when they were playing against Cloud9 earlier at that faster pace, just that relentless pressure, those shots on net. But G2 seemed to have control. They slowed it down, and despite that kind of slower pace, they still had 12 shots on net.
And there's a number there, and it's not actually the 3 goals on J-Naps that I want to point at as the major. I'm going to point out the 7 shots by J-Naps. If he is getting that many opportunities to take shots, he is always going to be lethal in that position. So if G2 can continue to feed him, I think that's going to work out very well for them. And you did bring it up actually during the game, is I feel like J-Naps might have had a role switch between the weeks where he's now no longer a ball carrier in the same way we see Bluey or Squishy. He's now instead the shadowing player, the player that's there available should the opportunity come up for him to take the shot. And I think that works out very well if the rest of his team can get him opportunities.
Yeah, it's about playing extremely unselfish for this team, and we've seen that throughout the entirety of G2's history, where when their players play extremely unselfish, they go for the pass plays. They basically are using their own opportunity to bait someone else out on defense to open up an opportunity for someone like JNaps. They work out really well, and you see Rizzo doing a prime example. Talk about how him being on defense a ton, and now he's starting to be the first one to push up simply to create a contest that works in favor of someone like either A, Kronovi, who can make a pass, or another touch, and then eventually JNaps is going to finish it off. But those 7 shots, like, JNaps alone is just giving himself space by the opportunities and the positioning that he's putting himself in.
But if he's going to get opportunities like that, then G2 will be laughing in this series. As JNaps is going to take an early shot, Kronovi tries to cut that one straight down into the back of the net. And Rizzo and JNaps have confused each other and confused me. They've got away with it. Rizzo going to leave it and take it down. He's actually just passed it straight over to Jacob. Yeah, nice pass.
Great positioning as well from Jacob, just sitting here at the midfield waiting for that touch to come out. Just unfortunate for Rizzo. Looks like he wanted to play that across to Kronovi, but he just read it well and gets in the way. Those passes need to be up in the air or lofted, otherwise it's going to be a little bit too easy for this NRG offense.
You saw Rizzo's car turn immediately after the pass. It's like the car knew just went, I did it bad, guys. I don't want to look at it.
I done goofed, man. I done goofed.
Either way, NRG going to take the lead in game number 2. Only 30 seconds now down. They'll love to try and make it 2-0 as quickly as possible. There's going to be a touch there from JNaps, put that straight into the line of sight of Jacob. NRG can continue to now consolidate their pressure. Jacob controlling the mid boost, has an opportunity to move back in. Passes it straight over to Garrett, off that backboard yet again. I think Jacob was just trying to trap the ball against the backboard, but did not quite work out.
Yeah, he was trying to slow the momentum on that backboard so it played down closer into the middle of his team. But Garrett's going to slow it down on his own, trying to force something in, but 2 defenders, too much.
Now down to the other end of the pitch, G2. Rizzo on the ball, and JNaps looking for the bump. Smart heads-up play there from G2, just does not quite work out. They remain 1 goal behind as they can push themselves back into the NRG half. Jacob looking to get into the corner. Here comes Rizzo. There goes Rizzo, because Jacob will win the ball. Wins yet again. Here comes Fireburner, gets off the backboard. Jacob and Garrett just clout into one another, cannot control the shot, yet they remain 1 goal up, so it will not matter too much to them, although it might if G2 can convert this. It's very difficult. Rizzo looking for the setup, but JNaps thinks better of going for the shot. Still opportunities. G2 refusing to go away. Kronovi's got to be smart with how he plays this one. Baiting out the potential shot. He's still going to struggle, but his team is now rotating all the way back. JNaps looking for Rizzo. Have made contact. Brevso going to come for the follow-up. Almost turned in. What would easily have been the play of the season. Just doesn't quite work out, but it is always those inches.
So close to making that play come together. But the pace of this game has definitely stepped up as shot after shot from both of these teams. Trying to find something that'll find the back of the net. Fireburner's going to get a boost and a demo as he's going to rotate out. JNaps plays that down inside. Easily cleared away by Garrett over to Jacob. Trying to get these 2-man clears as the pressure and the contest at the midfield for both of these teams really starting to heat up.
And NRG finally escape. They've got themselves into G2's half after a huge amount of work, and they are going to make the most of it, taking out a player, taking the boost away. And now they can look to constrict their opponents into this half. Fireburner gets 1 touch, not quite the second that he did one, but Jacob can win the ball outright. Garrett going to think about it, does win, trying to get a second block, but JNaps could take it away. NRG still not willing to move away though. They want to control the midfield, do eventually give up on it though, as they all rotate back. Jacob, we now know, has 100 boost. I'm not too sure about the rest of his teammates though, as he goes straight up. Going to get off the backboards. There's actually plenty around. Fireburner can take the shot, plays that directly into the middle. The defender could not be any happier about that placement, and he will be safe for the time being, but NRG refusing to give up. Gonna take the tap. Here comes Jacob looking for the second. Just not quite there. Played into the corner. Both these teams have vice-like grips on the opponent every time it's played to the other end of the pitch.
Well, for the first time in the past 20 seconds, Kronovi finally gets some boost. Everybody else but JNaps was completely out. But a quick transition downfield and a shot opportunity stopped out by a beautiful touch from Jacob.
Not only that, but now NRG can go to the other end of the pitch. They give up, though, recognizing it was going to be very difficult, instead sending only one player, and that player was Fireburner.
That fantastic 50-50 from Fireburner just gets in the way, even though he's rotating back. He's just doing that to relieve some of the pressure that's about to happen. Buys them time, allows them to get a boost. G2 now has the ability to put on that siege-style offense that we're used to.
Jacob gets the touch, going to try and follow it straight up. He has going to have the opportunity. He does backflip, though, not willing to overcommit and power his car into the opposing end, so it's going to allow him to rotate quicker. NRG still 1 goal up as we head into the final 35 seconds of this matchup. It's been back and forth so far, but the early goal from NRG is still carrying them through this matchup. Here's Fireburner, going to try and make it 2, just didn't have the accuracy though, and Kronovi was still in the way. Garrett just going to try and waste some more time now. Only one player going to keep being committed now by NRG as they settle onto this lead. 14 seconds remaining, and it would be all for G2 to do, and that boost miss from Rizzo is going to make this even more difficult for them. It's going to be taken out of the play for the time being because he's going to have to get some boost to return in. And with that, it's become just a little bit too difficult, but they might still be able to do it. JNAPS, though, is down and out of boost. It's going to be so difficult to do. Garrett will look to come in with the finish. Does not finish it off, though. And we've still not touched the floor just yet. G2 to the other end of the pitch. Here's Jacob with the challenge. NRG respecting G2's ability to play the ball in the air. Want to tap this one straight down. It is still going. But Kronovi looking for the goal. I'm not even going to try and round this one out right now. It'll finish when it finishes.
It's just a matter of time, eventually going off the ceiling and dropping. But all of it started simply because there was a point when Kronovi tried to make a contest out of that back net. He exerted all of his boost, and then JNAPS ended up taking it in front of him in that corner. And because of that, like, NRG was still allowed to apply pressure that entire time. As soon as that ball got pushed right back in, Kronovi still only had 18 boosts, and there was an easy contest that he would have made if he would have had just a little bit extra. But because of that, and all that initial play, he has to sit back on defense and just wait for this NRG team to keep applying constant rotation until they finally give up. But good effort towards the end. They almost got it out, and then put right back in, and then back up again, and then...
It was end-to-end.
And then we played volleyball for a little bit, and... It's pretty cool.
You just want me to watch volleyball animes. That's it. That's the only reason why you're bringing this up right now.
If Gibbs was over here right now, he'd be yelling about how it's poetry in motion.
Apparently it is. Either way, NRG taking this matchup in a game that was really very different to a lot of games I've ever seen, where it was a case of, okay, we've got the ball, locked down. Okay, we've lost the ball. Okay, we're going to take it to the other end. Lock down. Don't usually see that much. It's usually one team controlling or neither team controlling.
Not only do we not see it much, but we don't see it in the sense of where a team is able to break out and then do it themselves. Because usually it's just that constant midfield boost that we talked about the last time you and I were casting today. About how when you control those two middle ones, like, you have full control of everything in that situation because of the constant pressure you can apply. So for them to be able to transition it back out and then apply that same sort of pressure to the other team is pretty rare.
Well, it is going to be time for game number 3. It is now raining on Manfield, and for G2 eSports, they do not want to let this series slip. It's going to be their opportunity to turn this around and get back after that previous 1-goal loss. In game number 2 for NRG, oh, they should be looking for another early goal like they did last time, and here's going to be their opportunity to do it, pressing it into G2 eSports area. JNAP's trying to carry it straight up, but it's always going to be very difficult to play that away from the one in the middle, so down to the other end of the pitch we go.
Interesting to see Jacob as well, rather than just immediately rotating back to boost. He sits underneath the ball and shadows it just in case the ball does land. He's there to contest it immediately.
Jacob, put that one straight over. Kronovi holding the midfield though. Would have been fine, but Jacob is going on the warpath. Going to open up the area for Garrett to take the shot. Jacob, the flick back down. Something we're seeing Jacob do quite often, actually, is that Garrett is taking shots and he's sticking around, wanting to try and maybe challenge a potential clear from the G2 squad, but it's not quite worked out perfectly yet.
No, it's still trying to find that initial play to work out. A lot of it has to do with that man there. Garrett able to put an easy shot on net, but it seems like we are really seeing them change the roles of their play, almost as if they've reverted. Fireburner now being that true third man. He got a bunch of goals earlier in the day because of it, but just the patience. He's not afraid to sit back and just survey and watch these two kind of do their thing. And it's been working out. First goal on the board for game number 3 in favor of NRG. That's all it took last game.
Absolutely. Now 4 minutes. I expect very rarely do we see just a 1-goal game, but the clean sheet does usually become very useful. Here's Fireburner. Couldn't quite turn that one in, and Rizzo's first touch not quite good enough, going to allow Jacob time to turn himself around. Ball played first, and this is turning into exactly what we said when we came into this series. It's all about individual ball wins. Every single time, it's always someone either winning the ball by a split second or winning the challenge, not much in the form of team plays.
Yeah, I mean, both those players did go up for it. And even though it was like subtle mistakes, it's just these guys have expectations of the other players. So when Rizzo does make that subtle mistake, you see a player, no hesitation, challenges immediately. But because Rizzo's able to make that individual play back up the wall, it actually draws out a defender, and he's able to continue on.
Garrett on the wall, got time. He's got enough boost as well to create something. Opportunity for Jacob, just a little bit too close, but he still made this very dangerous, and Fireburner comes in. And I completely agree with what you said right now. We saw him yet again, Fireburner, turning himself into the true third. Garrett is now the ball carrier.
Yeah, it's completely changed up, and the pressure of the game has definitely changed because of it. They've just become a little bit more comfortable playing a slower style of play. And it's not something that they were able to do against Cloud9. Every time they tried to play this style, they got punished, and they had to completely change it up with that midfield turnaround. And it's interesting to see them not take advantage of that with the team like G2, who's allowing them space.
There's also something as when we saw Garrett join NRG, started playing a lot more defensive, and we all just sort of accepted it. Never really questioned what would happen if he was put into a different role in the squad. This might be our opportunity in this series, a little bit less on the line, to see what exactly that change would make.
Obviously, still implications, trying to avoid playing OCE and get that first round bye in the LAN if the winner that was matched taking that third seed, as well as $2,000 extra. $2,000 extra. That's how I'm gonna say that right now.
That's two more monies. That's like 2,000 more monies than you would have had if you didn't win the series.
4K compared to 2K. Thanks, Shogun.
You're welcome. You guys use Monopoly money over here anyway.
No, that's if we go to Leafs territory. Because they literally use loonies and toonies as currency.
Is it colored money?
I know it's like unrippable, although I did rip it once in an Uber and I felt really bad. I'm like, you said it wouldn't rip. Freaked me out.
Speaking of things that won't rip, there is currently nothing available for the time being, but there was a slight tear in the defense. But NRG have held on. Can still be Kronovi. On the ball, has he got any options? No, he does not. Jacob down to the other end of the pitch. Going one-on-one against Rizzo. Does beat Rizzo, but JNAPS rotates himself back just in time. Now Rizzo going to go to the other end of the pitch. It's going to be very difficult for him to do anything with it. Garrett can take over. Everyone from G2, though, swarming around the ball. They know what they need to do. They don't want a repeat from game number 2. They try and bring this one back. Crow leaves it for JNAPS, who just slams it down to the other end. Almost found the net as well. That's what you need on your team. Someone that can just hit the ball from anywhere and find the goal.
It seems to be how these players have
that's a big no-no from JNAPS. He's going to hand that straight up to Fireburner, who couldn't turn it in off the crossbar.
Just an awkward angle for Fireburner there, moving with the ball across to the left. Probably would have been better as there was plenty of space on the other side of the net, but it would have been too light.
I was going to say that it's very rare that we say JNAPS did something bad, but it's also very rare that we add the word JNAPS and big no-no.
Yeah, that's about right.
Jacob up high, going to try and bait out Rizzo, and he has done so. Fireburner will not be able to be first on the comeback. JNAPS puts it up high. Jacob could be by himself. He has to play this one well, and he has done so. So one more opportunity for G2. Rizzo was just a little bit too close to that shot, but JNAPS was in position, couldn't quite get it there, and an awkward bounce will mean that game number 3 is going to go to NRG and a 2-1 series lead.
And you want to talk about uncharacteristic score lines, 1-0, and that first goal happened within the first minute of this game. So we're talking 4 minutes of just back and forth.
Yeah.
But you see how much the pace of this game is slowed down based on the shots we're looking at. I mean, you're only talking 6-4 as compared to other ones where JNAPS alone had 7 in their first game.
Yeah, absolutely. But 2 1-0 wins for NRG in a row. That is now at least 10 minutes. I haven't done the exact math because I wasn't really counting from game number 1 either, but that is at least 10 minutes now of G2 being unable to score. So we were talking about potential role switches. Maybe not right now. Maybe this isn't the series to do it because they are struggling to find a way through.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that obviously we talk about the importance in the seeding and all that kind of stuff, but in this kind of circumstance, like, they're into LAN. They're comfortable. They have the ability, no matter what, they're going to have to perform at their best when they get there, no matter who their opponent is. So in that kind of situation, like, I don't mind them experimenting with stuff, but at the same time, if something is working, and for G2, clearly it did because they were able to make it to where they are now, why change away from that? You know, like they played throughout league play, and we talk about their inconsistency and all this kind of stuff, and they played consistently throughout league play. They only dropped one game. So revert back to that style. Give us that kind of pressure. Give us those quick rotations and those quick infield pass plays, because we haven't really seen that from either team this series.
Absolutely, but there is one more thing that we do need to bring up as well, which I do believe the bracket works out on, which is if you do lose this one, not only do you have to take on the first OCE seed, but you also have to take on, I believe, the first European seed. That's something to avoid at all costs.
I mean, do you want to play against Method? Because I don't.
Is that a bold prediction right there, Lawler?
Yep.
Okay, make sure you tune in tomorrow to see if Lawler's bold prediction
They're my best team in the world
does come out true.
I know I think you're for like Gale Force or something.
I think Gale Force is going to do it, but we'll find that out tomorrow, as we are going to be in our game, and there is going to be Kronovi, who just couldn't read the shot in time, and that is going to be painstakingly close to being another opening minute goal.
Super close, trying to break that streak of at least 10 minutes. Not being able to find the back of the net, but leading those opportunities. JNaps with his long clears downfield. You see another one there.
Flicked off by Garrett, looking for Jacob. JNaps, however, looks for the net, and like a good old Boy Scout, he does find it.
A lot of it just has to do with his positioning. He's the one who cleared that all the way downfield, and then with only 15 boost, moves up and contests the ball, just wide open. Everybody from this NRG squad kind of rotating out to the outside.
I just made an assumption about your country. The Boy Scouts do go looking for things, right?
I don't know. I dropped out.
Okay.
They had the, like...
I just imagine shorts and binoculars. That's all I'm thinking of right now.
The derby thing, where you, like, make a car and then put it down a track. After that, I was like, all right, I'm done.
All right, no, that'd be sick.
It was pretty cool.
Fireburner, looking for Jacob. Jacob gonna play that all the way down to the other end of the pitch, and he will find the net. G2 did manage to get away with their goal drought, but unfortunately, didn't last very long with the lead.
Another long clear, just a good pass up from Fireburner. Right over to his teammate, good awareness, plays it downfield, just nobody there to make a save. Easy 1-2 in the clear.
It's all tied up. Only a minute and 12 seconds into this game. G2 still trailing the series by 2-1. Very crucial that they try and find this one for themselves. Kronovi is going to back down from the potential move forward for a shot. And once again, NRG seem to have found their long clears, because they are getting them every single time. And they're getting it from the wall as well, so it's ever so difficult for G2 to come in for a challenge. See JNaps, or Jacob I should say, going for yet another one, tries to follow his own shot, but can't get there in time. Pass from Kronovi away and towards JNaps. So wasn't even trying to play that one against Jacob, instead going for the passing plays instead. Good heads-up play from him. JNaps looking for the set off the backboard, but Jacob has got it read. Been a continuous theme that we've seen in this series between G2 and NRG. Just continuous long balls being played, waiting to see who will be either challenged for the ball very well or just make a straight-up mistake.
Good shot by JNaps there, forcing two players to commit. Just unfortunately, it seems to be that both of these teams are kind of missing that next rotation, that next man that after the initial shot draws somebody out, someone to immediately follow up and put on a shot. But the fake from JNaps and the follow-up from Kronovi, oh my goodness.
Go the entire length of the pitch. JNaps takes himself out, and Jacob, he respects it, doesn't go for the initial touch, goes for the second one instead. And G2, the drought is now officially gone, and the greens are starting to grow. It's time for them to go hunting.
Well, they do need to come back. They have lost the previous two in this best of 7. NRG trying to put themselves at match point with a win here. JNaps going to clear that up to Rizzo, but Rizzo just being a nuisance. Stays up in front of one and then drops down on the other to give him kind of a heart attack.
Off the wall, Jacob looking for a set, just couldn't power it out enough.
Another long clear.
Oh, Rizzo's taking Garrett out of the play, but Garrett, what a recovery there. Gets on the wall and immediately turns. I don't think there was even a blinking chance as Jacob almost got the double tap. NRG holding on, not only holding on, but putting forward some ridiculous plays.
Able to hold on and keep this still within one with 2 minutes left. Because of that man there, Jacob's going to rotate out. But quick touch from the G2 squad allows them to keep into it. And it just seems to be that Rizzo isn't feeling like himself. A couple of those touches just a little bit off. But it is making it confusing for the defense, because when they go to contest, it's not the place they originally thought it would be. Good mistake with a pass out in the middle, and a shot from Jacob saved by JNaps seemingly everywhere on this pitch.
The only thing that was more gorgeous than that pass was the save. incredible. Both those two players finding the perfect angles, and there was not much else that this shot could have done. Almost perfectly placed. But G2 holding on to their 1-goal lead. With a minute and 15 seconds remaining, they could make it 2. Just Garrett there with the doink plays it away, but G2 refusing to give up. Garrett once again off the backboards. Comes straight down. Has ended up missing that one, but he has stole the boost away from G2 in the back right-hand corner.
Something separating these teams as well is just how well they utilize their space, even though they're not able to get the touch or what have you. Just taking full advantage, whether it be grabbing the boost or going for a bump or a demo.
Almost feels like at times NRG are trying to force themselves to be creative rather than actually playing the situation and maybe just going solo with the ball. Pass there that was not necessarily overly recommended with two players right next to each other. Rizzo pushes it straight into the corner, 30 seconds remaining, still 1 goal separating these two squads, although it might not last for very long. Save not quite needed. NRG just struggling to find the angles needed to finish off the play. Now with 17 seconds remaining, this will be the last throw of the dice. Fireburner comes in, he will capitalize off the back room demolition. And we are now all tied up.
Just picking up the pace here, but a lot of it because of Jacob. Gets the initial touch to play it past that first defender, and then once again, what can I do with this space that I'm given? What can I do with anywhere I am? Do I rotate, get boost? Do I go for, I'm going for the goalie. Demos him out of the way, open net. Tied up here in game number 4.
I love the level of mind games that we're starting to introduce as well with these demos, because defenders see it coming. Rizzo saw that one coming and tried to get it with a jump, but Jacob knew he was going to do it. And there is going to be Garrett with an incredible 0-second buzzer beater. We will not even need overtime. NRG have stolen this match.
Kronovi was just not ready for that touch from Garrett. Plays it right at him in the clear. Just not far downfield. You saw JNAPS one time again. Just easy clears downfield, but because of that subtle mistake, it pops up, gives Garrett another opportunity, and ends it in regulation. Not relegation. Relegation is 2 weeks from now.
I think we call it Fergie time over in the UK. It's time that just shouldn't have been there, but it was anyway. Anyway, we're going to take a quick look at that goal yet again, just to see exactly what happened. As it's going to be straight over to middle there.
Yeah, so that ball plays in, and Kronovi trying to get it. It plays on the opposite side of his car, so it shoots right back over. Bouncing off that wall, Garrett just has plenty of boost, takes his time with it, lines it up, and just puts a shot on net, wide open.
Now, an important thing to note there is that we did actually move straight from the scoreboard into the replay very quickly. Thing to note, Rizzo is putting up nada, nothing, nil point in that game. 4 donuts for him, and just needs to get more involved at this point.
Yeah, it's how they won their first game. He was leading the charges, the one initially causing disruption, and then it allowed JNAPS to kind of just have his way with wherever he wants. Now JNAPS is the one on defense having to clear the ball every single time, and it's not helping out.
No, it certainly isn't. So, with that, NRG are going to take their 3rd game in a row. G2 came into the series looking very good in game number 1, but it does seem to be almost very similar to their series with Ghost, where the opening 2 games saw glimpses from them, but they seem to be fading at this point in time. They need a new way of trying to break down NRG's defense, otherwise they will give up this series 4 games to 1. So let's get ourselves into it. Game number 5 between NRG and G2 eSports. Which way will it go? Only these guys will help us find that out. G2 have got to find themselves some answers. Their answer to this will be to save from Garrett, but Garrett's answer is to read you like a book, answer every question, and nail the test of how to read a Rizzo save.
Not only does he get the read on that, but playing it up the wall and then popping it off that wall perfectly to himself. Just once again, feathering that boost to put himself in a position to shut it out, because even if he doesn't get that, you know that NRG team is going to be swarming to help out afterwards.
We've seen this situation twice already. NRG taking a goal within the opening minute, and they settled on it both times with 1 goal. The difference is 1-0 wins. Can they do it a 3rd time and end this series, or have G2 finally figured out the formula to break down NRG? To see something from them, but the first thing, they need to get this ball out their half, and instead it's going to become even more difficult for them. Jacob to Garrett, and that is going to be 2-0.
Beautiful 1-2. Jacob plays that nice and soft up to himself, whether intentional or not, but what he does afterwards is crucial. Lands on the wall, immediately gets up, and then makes sure to play that back more towards the middle of the field where his teammates are waiting. Really good heads-up play by Jacob to take advantage of an opportunity he pretty much created himself, whether unintentional or not.
Jacob, getting that immediate into the corner.
Slowing it down, I like what he does there. If he's given space, why not take advantage of it?
Exactly.
Make someone commit to you.
I like that as well, because he knew he had 2 players behind him. There's no reason to overcommit. Here's going to be a great team play from G2. Glimpses of what they are capable of.
Quick response, a good touch from Kenobi off that back. Just plays it immediately inside and then straight back up to him. Doesn't hesitate, moving forward. Just has the expectation from JNAPS to be able to find him. Plays that far post and beautiful shot back within 1.
And if you're the defender there, you just smile to yourself, because there is nothing you are going to do about that one.
You just have to appreciate it.
Have to appreciate that your team just got caught. It's going to be JNAPS. There's a straight over to Jacob. Jacob actually doesn't make contact. Fireburner has to take over. G2 looking to swarm upon this mistake, and they are doing very well at creating something, but we've only seen Kronovi and JNAPS currently in this play. Finally, Rizzo. Actually, Rizzo didn't play it there. They came in, actually. Being cleared away by Jacob. G2 having opportunities, and at times NRG can definitely be shaky, capable of making their own mistakes.
But NRG credit needs to go where it's done. Both these teams as well, I guess. Other than a couple mistakes here and there, very high lofted clears as a shot saved again by Garrett G. Has been everywhere on the pitch, showing his worth for this team.
Does Garrett just live? Has he got a tent up there or something? Because he is always on that backboard, but there's going to be the follow-up. Rizzo smashes into Garrett's home, hitting off the backboard, and follows it up with a shot.
Just good awareness coming out. You see Kronovi, see Rizzo just kind of hovering on the side of the pitch. He plays it across, and then Rizzo takes matters into his own hands. A good pop-up off that backboard. Just trying to make it as difficult as possible, as there are 2 defenders sitting in that net, but we talked about it earlier. When you're sitting in net cemented like that, you're just giving the other person all the time in the world. You need to be constantly moving. Hopefully someone can get in front of it next time. All tied up. Game number 5, NRG on match point.
Kronovi. He has much power onto that as he would have initially wanted, but the pass by NRG is just not going to be good enough. No options to follow up. Garrett with the save. Gets into corner as well, but JNAPS looking for an opportunity to continue on. No, but it will be Rizzo straight in. NRG struggling to keep this ball out from anywhere dangerous, but they have kept it at least close to the wall so far. So no options just yet for G2 to take a shot. It might end up turning up here, but Garrett off the wall yet again, holding the play, holding his team's defense steadfastly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Steadfast, I believe is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, we'll go with it. I will say G2 is doing a much better job this game as well. Checking to the ball rather than waiting for it to come to them. JNAPS makes a crucial save to bring this out. It settles in the midfield. A beautiful bounce out mid gives JNAPS another opportunity. Taking a play, decides to loft it up high. And it slips past 2 defenders, but Fireburner's going to sweep in on his rotation. A mistake coming up from JNAPS. A play into the midfield. A bump. And getting in the way is Jacob, stopping the momentum and allowing Fireburner a goal.
There was no way past Jacob right here. You see Rizzo, he thinks he can go straight through him. Nope.
And then he gets bumped by Fire too.
Just no way past. And NRG, if they can hold on to this lead for another 95 seconds, they will take 3rd place and go in as the 3rd seed for North America at the World Championships. Still plenty of work left to do though. G2 want to find a way through, and they would not like it to end like that after a bit of a cluster of a goal. So Rizzo was unable to make his way through. Here's JNAPS on the ball. And there's JNAPS taken out by Jacob yet again.
Just a big bully.
He's just a big bully right now, isn't he?
Put his foam hat back on. He's here for business.
I don't care if it's raining. I'm going to use this foam hat anyway. I don't own any others. Fireburner looking to try and play us away, but G2 still prodding. Still a minute left for them to find that singular goal that can keep this series going. JNAPS and the rest of G2, every time they get anything right now, they are just being bumped by someone on NRG. I'm not even going to call out Jacob, although he did just try and look for one right there. He's stolen away boost as well. Rizzo is going to be working on very little. Does take that one in the corner. But the rest of his team not quite in a perfect position.
Lots of consecutive touches for NRG. Finally stopped by G2 to move it downfield. It's just, once they get it down there, there isn't really much follow-up, but Rizzo's going to try to do it himself. Plenty of touches up But again, Garrett living on that backboard, pushes it out downfield.
The big problem right now for G2 has always been that they've been getting decent results, but they are always second best to the challenge. Either losing it or just getting beat to it entirely. And with that, once this ball touches the floor, unless G2 can have one more shot at it, it'll be very difficult to do, considering Garrett is going to put that one straight the way down. NRG will go in as the third best team in North America, and G2 will have to play against OCE in the first round.
Difficult for G2 as NRG just seemed to control the entire match, obviously back and forth into a couple circumstances, but just playing their game. They don't really get challenged in the sense that G2 was given space to do. But when it really comes down to it, I mean, G2 has been trying to get to this position for so long.
Yes.
You know, just really haven't had a winning season. And Kronovi's made a bunch of statements. A lot of these guys have talked about, like, you know, this has to be the one. If we don't make it now, like, what are we going to do? But have a couple things they need to figure out before they get to land in November, but still on the right track.
Yeah, certainly. I think both of these teams are going to come out, at least from this season, very happy. G2 making their first land, Kronovi making his first land since winning it. So they're going to be very happy with that. And NRG, I think they just wanted to prove to themselves that they could still be up there. So a convincing win in this series will certainly do that for them. But Garrett G, he had a he suddenly seemed to click, I don't know, in those last two games where it just seemed like he was almost unstoppable with absolutely every single ball he played. But in order to break down how NRG became the third seed in North America, we're going to hand this over to Axel Toss and the desk.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, NRG, a pretty solid day for them, starting off with a sweep over Rogue and then ultimately finishing in third place with a pretty convincing victory there over G2. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Mobile One high-performance replay from that match as NRG in the third-fourth place match able to get the victory here over G2, get them a little bit more cash, and of course that number 3 seed for North America region going into the World Championships.
And this was definitely the expected result after seeing what these teams showed earlier. Like, obviously, like, I went with G2 to try and keep my tournament a perfection
Trying to stay
alive.
honest.
But to be fair, like, NRG, like, this is what we expected. And G2, they did come out with that game 1 victory, and I think that's that warm-up game for NRG. And as they warmed up, and like, pretty much NRG got more comfortable throughout the series, and we just started seeing more and more mistakes or just no offense at all from G2, and we see that old NRG style defense of just locking them down in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, and even in game 4, G2 had the lead until the final seconds, and NRG scored those 2 goals back-to-back. Garrett G with that 0-second shot. So all of the games that NRG won were by a single goal. It was so close. It was neck and neck. So if you're an OCE team and you're looking at G2, you're going to be pretty scared because they are looking very, very solid. Very solid. I feel all of the top 4 teams in North America, as Shogun said, are very solid teams. But in this series, NRG just able to edge it out, you know, defending champions, but third place is good enough for them.
And I think today is definitely a testament to that. As for, you know, we've talked about before how close all these teams are, where there could be just different results on different days. But speaking on behalf of G2, if we can get into it a little bit, guys, you know, they're done for the day. So is NRG. Only one match to go here. But for G2 especially, coming into today, top 2, they had a bye. You know, their ambitions, you know, they just had a great week last week, and then they're like, okay, you know, maybe there's a chance they could turn it around and get a nice win. But today, nothing really happened for them. So from G2's perspective, what's the best way for them to come back from that and really focus in? What do they got to focus on going into the World Championships?
So this is the 3rd series in a row where JNAPS again combined by himself more shots than his 2 teammates combined. He had 21 to 18 shots for his 2 teammates. And honestly, that's just not going to work, I don't think, going forward, because JNAPS is their goal scorer, but he's also the one who has to throw those like unnecessary shots on net just to create offense and then hope for his team to come and finish it. But we really need Kronovi to step up as that number 1. I would love to see him move into more of a number 1 role, like, or number 3, one of the two. Like, I think him as that 2 role, trying to be the one to secure goals after JNAPS like does something fancy, is not really working out. So I think Kronovi needs to find a new role on this team. Same with Rizzo. I think they just have to figure out how this rotation works with this team. And at times they look great. Their passing plays are great, but at times they seem to fall back into those old tendencies that G2 has always had.
I felt like they had created a decent amount of opportunities this game, but they just failed to close it out. They failed to put that final shot on target, but they were looking pretty good. To me, though, Kronovi looked a little bit uncomfortable in this game, and sometimes it seems like their communication does deteriorate. Like we saw Kronovi actually, you know, hitting that ball right to Garrett at the end to finish it off. A little bit of a miscommunication with him. So I agree with you. I think the rotations and really more, it's the communication needs to come together for those guys. And I still think they have a solid chance at making a great World Championship run.
All right, we'll see what happens the next time we're going to see G2 will be at the World Championship. Same with NRG. Again, that's November 10th through the 12th. If you haven't gotten your tickets, get them now before they're sold out. Coming up next, one match to go here on the day. It's the championship, the final of the regional championship here in the North America region. It is Cloud9 going up against Ghost. Your final best of 7 of the day. We'll be right back.